No, new beginning. 1, 2, 3. Hey, what's up? It's me! Stop! Yeah, somebody asked me to explain why I did these things. Or, like, my reasoning behind giving the characters I gave the souls that I gave them. And, I love hearing myself talk, I guess. And also, I want to talk about it. And my friends, like, it, it's not that it's too niche for them. At least two of them are gonna know what I'm talking about, but I feel like nobody really cares about it the way I do because I'm insane about it. That's not their fault. I'm just unhealthily obsessed with Undertale and Cowboy Bebop. It's not their fault. I have issues, you know? Okay, so I'm starting off with Feifei because ladies first, except Julia's not first. It's just the order that happens to be in my photos. Anyways, so I feel like if I were a more popular person, this might be a controversial take, maybe? I don't know. But I feel like it fits because bravery is not the lack of fear. It is doing something even though you are afraid. And while Faye does tend to run away a lot, when it comes down to it, when she's needed, she's there. Like in the Metal Queen episode. Ah, I hit the mic, I'm sorry. Oh, like in the Metal Queen episode, she was scared of the bombs, as she should have been. Can I say that on TikTok? Well, it's too late now. I'm not editing this, so. I mean, I'm doing slight editing, because I spent like 5 minutes and doing nothing. But, anyways. Um, she did it, even though she was scared, because she had to. What you may say, like, well, what else could she have done? Fair. But also, she could have gotten Spike to do it somehow. She could have made him do it. It would have been the worst. But like for a quote unquote selfish character like her, that would have made sense to be like, I'm not doing this, Spike do it. But she did it. She grew balls and she did it. And also she's taken on this whole world that she doesn't know. Mind you, I should have said this in the beginning. Cowboy Bebop spoilers. I'll put that in text. Like she's taking on this whole world she doesn't know by herself. That's crazy scary. And yet she's doing it anyways. And doing it like a champ. Because even if she's scared and doesn't want to do it, she still has the bravery to face it. So yeah, Faye is bravery, and you can suck my schlong. Vicious is determination. I don't know. I feel like this is probably my weakest one. I think it was really just that's what's left over. But like if it fits, obviously. Like it make what are you staring at? Sorry, my cat. Like it makes sense, but like there's no I don't know if you heard that. I just smacked my phone against something. Like there was no reason that I put it to vicious besides the fact that I didn't want to leave out determination. But like he was determined to take over the syndicate and that's what he did. He was determined to fuck Spike. Oh, wait, not like that. Well, maybe like that. There's theories. you know, he was just, like he did it, did it. He did it, did it. But yeah, that's there's not really any. I was just like, yeah, that kind of makes sense, and then went on my merry way at 2 in the morning, because that's when I made these, I think. Gren. Patience. They have waited, and I'm using they them for them. And if I see you not using they them in a disrespectful way, I will find you. I don't care what pronouns you use for them, but like don't be a douche about it. Anyways, I'm using they them because I'll take whatever crumbs I can get. They had the patience to wait for Vicious that long to get their revenge. They didn't seek him out. Revenge and answers, mostly revenge. They didn't seek him out. They weren't. They wanted closure more so than revenge, I think. And they had the patience to wait for the right time to do that. I know I personally could not have. If Vicious had done to me what he did to them, I would have. Oh boy, I would have been tracking his ass down. But again, I'm not Patience, so I don't know. I just think it really fits. This is one of the ones that I was like thinking through the souls, and I was like, oh my god, that like fits so well. I don't have anything written out. That's why this is. I should write a script. I'm not going to, but yeah, I uh, I love them. Uh, Julia, integrity. I feel like this is another one that's gonna confuse a lot of people if people actually consume my content, which they don't. But you know, I'm still gonna post like they do, which is to say I don't post much at all. Whoopsies. But because it feels like nobody really gets Julia, you know? Which makes sense. You're not really supposed to fully get her. Even when we know her, she's still supposed to be a mystery. It's part of the allure, you know? Of her character. Obviously, Spike knows more about her than we do. He knows a lot about her. Sorry. But, it's integrity. It's it. Damn. Her soul is integrity, I think. Because even. No, let me. Again, spoilers. So, Vicious. I'm gonna be honest. Originally, before I had rewatched the show, because I was rewatching the show because my Wi-Fi was gone, and I have the show on DVD. I was like, you could give her integrity because she stayed with the Syndicate. Then I rewatched it and really paid attention. She didn't stay with the Syndicate out of some like moral obligation or whatever. In fact, I don't think she stayed much longer than Spike did, honestly. She probably left very soon after, if not immediately, right? Then I realized that's not where that integrity is. It's with Spike. She's not gonna hurt him, even if it puts her life in danger. That is her lover. She's not gonna do that. But also, she's not gonna drag him into the mess that's been created. Even though she knows that he would absolutely go along with her. But that would still be involving the Syndicate. And she was like the type of character who's like, I don't want you to be involved if you don't want to be involved. And Spike didn't want to be involved. But throughout it all, her loyalty lies with Spike. At the end of the series, when she's like, let's just run away together. Or she stays with him. You know, I feel like I'm not describing integrity correctly. But like, it's just. I hope I'm getting across what I'm thinking. Because the words aren't coming to me. She just. She made a promise to him. as his partner, and she's gonna keep that promise until the end. She's with him, even if not physically. He's always her priority. His safety and his life is her priority, even if it's at risk of her own. And I feel like we don't see that a lot. And I also feel like that's why the show, the live action, was not great to Julia. Because it kept her in the syndicate, one. And two, didn't show that very well. Like Cowboy Bebop, the original, I feel like didn't show it very well either, but that was intentional. This story isn't about Julia. She haunts the narrative, absolutely, but it's not about her. We don't need to know all that much about her. The live action tried to incorporate her more, but still gave her similar treatment to the anime. And it's like, you can't, you're trying to have the best of both worlds and you're having the worst of neither. You're having the worst of them. So, yeah, integrity. I feel like people would disagree with that one, but I don't care. Perseverance is Ed. It just fits. No, whatever gets thrown their way, they take it with stride and they just do it, you know? And it's not like Faye, because you could make the case that Faye is perseverance, but it's, I don't know, it's just different. Because whereas Faye continues to do so, I don't think it's out of a sense of persevering. It's just her doing what she thinks is like to be done. Whereas Ed is like pushing onward. Ed is like a fire taking over something. Just going for it. Doesn't let anything get in their way. And while there may be some hiccups along the way, they keep on pushing. Because whatever they want to do, they're going to do it. They want to be on the bebop, they're going to get on the bebop. They want to find where they belong, they're going to find where they belong. They want to hack something, they're going to hack it so good you won't even know it. You know? I feel like it really fits Ed. More than it could Faye. But you could also switch them around and have bravery be Ed and perseverance be Faye, and I feel like you could make a case for that too. This is just my personal preference for it. Wow, no one's gonna argue with me here. Literally nobody's gonna argue with me. This was incredibly easy. This was the easiest one to do because it was just so obvious. It's like, oh, justice. If there's justice incorporated with Cowboy Bebop, you're gonna be like, oh, Jet. Like, you know? And it's not because he was a cop, regrettably. It's just like. He, like. I don't even know how to describe it, because it's just like, that's him, man. That is Jet. He is justice. Oh my god. I forget the name, which makes me a fake fan, I guess. But, the episode where he goes to confront his ex. I forget her name because she's irrelevant to me because that's my husband. Go away. I did Debbie Ryan there. Unfortunately, it is something I do. But anyways, um, he could have just left it alone. But the dude did something bad, and even if it was in self-defense, he has to man up and suffer the consequences. He has to deal with it. And while Jet did it relatively kindly, he still was like, no, you gotta deal with this. But also, you're probably gonna be fine. I feel like that's a great example of justice for him. And it just, if you were to list characters that encompass justice very well, he'd definitely be in like top 10 of that list, I feel like. Uh, Also, I'm biased because if I had a soul trait, I think personally it would be justice, and he's my favorite. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. But now, probably eight Spike's most. Yeah, the most controversial one, kindness for Spike, and this is I have the most to say for him. I really do. Spike, hello. So a lot of people I feel like would disagree with me because he's so like aloof and like closed off and is like I hate children and animals and women and is like you would think like with the way that he portrays himself, no, it would never be kindness. You're wrong. You're stupid and you're wrong. I'm sorry, that's me, but kindness is exactly why he does that. Of course, I'm going to start it off with a little theory I have. This isn't proved, but this is my track of logic. So, Spike in the Syndicate. Obviously, he was fucking amazing at his job. We know this. But from the little snippets of the past we see, I think he felt real guilty about it. Kept him up at night, gave him nightmares. Like, he did his job and he did it well, but it sickened him. But he can't afford to care. It's his job. And I think that's one of the reasons he left. Because he cared too much. And it was tearing him apart. Also, because he didn't want Julia to be in that life. He didn't want to be in that life. Right? So let's flash forward. We see Spike now, aloof, uncaring. No, I don't like anything. Everything is dumb. I hate all of you, That's an act he puts on to protect himself and to stop him from getting attached to things. Because, like he says, it's just a dream. And he feels like if he get well, I'm not gonna say he feels like, because technically this isn't confirmed, I guess. But like, if he gets too attached to something again, like Julia, it'll just be taken away from him. His friendship with Vicious taken away from him. His life as he knew it taken away from him. While he left that, that's still a huge part of his life that's no longer there, and he can never go back. Everything he's ever known is kind of just far out of reach. I mean, he could technically go back to the Syndicate, but I highly doubt they'd be like, yeah, that's fine. You know? Not that he'd want to, I think, personally, but again, that's theorizing. So, he puts on this performance. Uncaring. Doesn't like anything. Whatever happens, happens. And he does believe that, because that's how he's had to get through his whole life. Whatever happens, happens. But he cares. Because that is the core of his being, is to care. I mean, if he really didn't, if there was no kindness in him, why would he let Faye, Ed, and Ein stay on the ship? He hates them so much, and yet they stick around. And we can see it, him with Ed. He does get attached. probably regretfully on his part, he opens up to Faye. Yes, he's about to go kill himself, basically. But he does open up to her in a way he hasn't opened up to anybody before. Why would he do that if he didn't care at least a little bit? Because he does. And you can see it in the way that he handles bounties. You see it in the first episode. He could have just taken her in right there. Forgive me, I don't remember her name. The lady in the first episode. I have a very bad memory. He could have just taken her in. He could have used her as bait for the fucking what's his face. He could have done all this shit, but he didn't. Yeah, he could have been playing the long game. Or maybe it's because he knows what that's like. I saw somebody draw parallels to the first and last episode of Cowboy Bebop, and they are absolutely there. So I think he definitely sees parallels. Whether it be him and her, or her and Julia, he sees them. Right? And then at the end of the episode, she kills the dude, obviously. And he stares at her. She stares back. He's not angry. Shocked, yes, but not angry. It's the animation. Just really look at his face. It's so I feel like it's almost like knowing. And then she dies, right? Let's take another example. Um, I can't be fucked to remember the name of this episode either. I felt so cool naming Metal Queen, and then I was like, nope, Heavy Metal Queen, and then I don't remember any of the others. But the episode with the harmonica kid, adult man person, question mark? At the end, when he eventually kills the harmonica kid, right? Harmonica kid, objectively bad dude. Duh. Could you? Sorry, my dog's being annoying. Harmonica kid dies. Spike lets him get his whole spiel out. Why would he do that if he wasn't at least a little bit kind? I mean, he didn't have to stand there and listen. He could have left. He could have left that dude dying alone in his final moments, as he had probably left others. But he didn't. He stayed. He listened. And while he didn't agree, and he didn't like him, he didn't let him die alone. He listened. Just look at the way he interacts with a lot of bounties. Le Pew? Was that his name? At the end of the episode, when he flings the knife into Le Pew. I think that's his name. I'm just gonna call him Le. Yeah, I'm just calling him Le. He flings the knife into Le, and he starts crying out for his mother. At that moment, Spike could have immediately come over, could have dealt with him. But he doesn't. At first, I think it's from shock, admittedly. But then he just stays. And he watches him. And I feel like these moments where he stays and he watches these bounties are moments where his kindness truly seeps through. Because they aren't just bounties in that moment, they're people. I feel like Spike doesn't see a number on a head. He sees the people. And as much as he tries not to, and as much as he doesn't agree, he sees them. He may not relate, but he sees their pain and he remembers his own. Kind of reminds me of, if you want a better worded description of this kind of character. Not this kind of character, but this kind of seeing the human in them trope. Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. While he does not agree with what the demons do, he sees that they were once human and sympathizes with them. And while he still at the end of the day kills them, he's merciful. He's not outwardly vicious. He's not brutal. He's not mean. But semantics. You get what I'm trying to say. Spike is the same way. It's just that he has this mask all the time of uncaring, unkind asshole that I feel like a lot of people don't see it. And I also feel like the animation does a lot of that work. Just like it's not too expressive, but you can just see the little shifts in like his eyes. Maybe it's my mind tricking me because I really like animation, so I pay attention to it more and put life into it more. I don't know, but I can just like see his mind working through the fact that while this is a bounty and he needs money, there are also people who have suffered. I just I wish I had better words to explain it. I should have written a script, but that would have taken me a week. And probably more. And I wanted to get this out today. But I feel like I'm not explaining this right, and I need somebody who's better at words to explain it. He just is kindness. As much as he tries to guard that and not show it because it's gotten him hurt, because it's gotten other people hurt, he can't help it. He clings on to his friends even when they think that he's dead, holds them in their memory. Fucking him with Anne and her husband. Y'all, please understand. I'm gonna mind beat my thoughts into your head. uh, what you need to do is you need to rewatch the series with this idea in mind, and you will see it. I promise you. You will see it. I mean, hell, he could have kicked Ein out immediately and was like, fuck no, get the fuck out. And yet he didn't. He could have turned Ein in for money, and yet he didn't. Why? Because at the end of the day, kindness is his core being. And no matter how much he hates it, and I think he hates it, he will never truly, wholly betray that. Oh, I feel. Like, I want to say like maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I really don't think I am. Is the thing. I really don't. I feel like it's right there within everybody's grasps, but it's just for some reason hasn't been talked about yet. Maybe, or maybe it has been and just nobody's been listening. I don't know. It's it's right there. It's right there. I can taste it. Ugh. But yeah, so that's that's my reasoning. I think that's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. So yay. Hopefully this isn't in multiple parts cuz that would suck for me to have to upload it. But yeah, that's my Cowboy Bebop Undertale Soul headcanons. If you disagree, that is unfortunate because I won't be changing my mind on these. I would love to hear your thoughts, of course. Fun discourse is always fun. Uh, but if you're gonna try to change my mind, I don't see that going any sort of way. Cause like Spike, I'm fixed on kindness with him, and Ren, I'm fixed on patience with them, and it all just kind of falls into place. So, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you can word it better than I can. Feel free to. Please do. I'm bad at words, which is why writing songs is so hard, even though I desperately want to do it. Get these words out of my head. But, eh. Nicki Minaj. He's friends with pedophiles. Anyways, now that controversial bit is at the end, fight about it in the comments. That way this gets traction. Womp womp.